Sometimes true stories are even more scary than fiction. Here are more tales about the glitch in the Matrix. My uncle's dog is completely different. A few years ago, I went to my home country of Brazil, and I got to see my uncle's dog for the first time. It was a white Samoyed-esque dog with white fur and pointy ears. His name is Sebastian, and I even took a picture on my phone of him. So flash forward to last year, my family decided to live in Brazil. We arrived at the airport and my uncle picks us up in his van. During the ride to the city we'll be living in, we start discussing some stuff, and I ask how Sebastian is doing. My uncle says he's doing well or whatever, and I ask if I can see him again. We arrive at his house, where we see his wife, and I say hello, but standing right next to her was this huge Labrador. I thought it was weird how they would get two dogs and not mention it. I ask my aunt what his name is, and she says, "What are you talking about? This is Sebastian." I stood there for a second and just thought back. It's one thing to forget what color a dog was, but to forget what breed it was entirely seems unlikely. I played it off and pet him for a bit. As soon as I could, I checked my mom's phone to find the picture I took of him and me. And lo and behold, the dog in the picture was a Labrador. This is the weirdest thing to ever happen to me. Does anyone know what could have happened? Fell asleep listening to a song last night. Sounded completely different when I woke up. I want to start by saying I don't know if this is the best subreddit for this. I'm still fairly new to Reddit, but I didn't know where else to post this. Last night I fell asleep listening to a song, and I accidentally left the song on repeat on my Apple Music. I went to play it again earlier today, and it sounded completely different than I remembered it. This isn't a case of forgetting what a song sounds like, as I've been listening to it for the last 5 years. The strangest part is, this has happened to me before in the exact same way. Fell asleep with the song on repeat about a year ago, and the song still sounds completely different than I remember hearing it. I wrote it off as me forgetting what the song sounds like, but after last night, I don't think so. I'd say in both songs everything just sounds much higher pitched. Has this ever happened to anyone else? Missing item reappeared. About 3 or 4 days ago, I was cooking breakfast and the handle of the pot I was using fell off. I immediately scooped up the fallen food, grabbed a pot holder to pick up the pot, and went to pick up the missing screw and handle to put it back together. Except I couldn't find the handle. Our kitchen is small, there's nowhere it could have rolled to. I checked the trash, under the stove, everywhere. I stood in the kitchen feeling like I was going crazy and said out loud, "I just had it, where did it go?" When my roommate got home that afternoon, I told her what happened. She said that I must have thrown it away subconsciously. We accepted that must have been what happened, so we went on with business as usual. I even tried to retrace the events of that morning in my head, but I could not remember what happened to the handle. Didn't remember holding it, dropping it, nothing. Weird. Today my roommate is unloading the dishwasher and she suddenly exclaims, where did this come from?" She pulls out the missing pot handle. I asked her where it was and she says right in the middle of the dishwasher. She and I had both done a load of dishes since that day. In fact, I loaded the dishwasher last night. That pot handle was not there. Because of the shape of it, the plates would not have fit correctly if it had been there. We don't know how to explain it. I think my day restarted today. Bit of background, I've got in a strange sleep pattern lately, often sleeping all afternoon and waking up at night. So this morning, I had been awake since 10 p.m. and stayed up till everyone in the house was awake. The sun rose and I felt it on my face. It only shines through my window a short time each morning. I stayed up Sunday morning until I decided to go to sleep, as usual lately, at around midday. After what felt like an 8+ hour long sleep, I awoke, surprised to see the sun. It shone on my face. Instead of midnight, I had woken up at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Sunday morning. My family then got out of bed, which has led to some confusing conversations. Maybe I'm just sleep deprived and confused, but I swear I woke up before I went to sleep, and at least my sleep pattern is normal again, I guess. Edit. Again, something that may not be a glitch, but usually my dad is borderline abusive to me and my mother, often terrifying my little brother, and my mother will make us breakfast in the morning. This morning, my dad has been strangely nice to me, the way my mother usually is, and made us a great breakfast. He can't even cook usually. My mother acted like my dad, becoming extremely aggressive without reason and scaring my little brother. Hopefully this is just a weird day and I haven't entered a parallel universe. I think I heard myself trying to communicate with me. So let me start by saying I'm a healthy skeptic. When I experience something out of the ordinary, I try to debunk it before I think it could be supernatural, but I'm open-minded to any possibilities. I used to live in a 1-bedroom apartment with my ex-fiancé. He was at work and I was on the computer reading some emails. There were no windows open and I had no TV on or music playing. The apartment was completely quiet, which was odd for me because I always have some kind of background noise going. Suddenly, I hear what sounded like someone saying my name. I snap out of what I was reading and look around thinking I was going to see my fiancé home early from work. No one was there. I shrug it off thinking maybe one of my cats made a weird noise, or I heard a noise that just sounded like my name. I go back to reading my emails, and I hear the voice saying my name again. Only this time it's louder, as if trying to get my attention. I look down the hall where the 1-bedroom was located, thinking this was where the sound came from. Then I hear the same voice say, "Oh my God, she can hear me." I felt my blood run cold, and I bolted out of the apartment and ran into the parking lot where I called my ex-fiancé and told him I refused to go back into the apartment until he got home. To this day, I have no idea what it was that I heard. And to clarify, the apartment I lived in was pretty soundproof as far as not being able to hear the neighbors talking. It didn't feel threatening, it just scared the shit out of me. And this may sound strange, but the voice sounded like my own. I've thought, what if this was myself in another dimension that was trying to interact with me? What if, for this moment, our timelines crossed? Has anyone else had something similar happen to them? Strange noise at the start of the pandemic. Back in the first week of March of this year, right as the coronavirus was descending upon the US, I heard a very strange noise in my head at night. I had gone to the mall that day and had a strong feeling of dread the whole time, like it would be the last normal outing for a long time. As I had my headphones on and was listening to music that night, a very loud rip traveled from one ear to the other, almost like time was being unzipped. It wasn't anything painful or medically worrisome, but it did feel like the start of traveling down some alternate path. The weird thing is, both my sisters, who live in other places, also heard weird noises that same week. My one sister and her husband heard a loud crash in their house, a weird noise they had never heard before, but when they went to look, nothing had happened. I'm curious to see if anyone here has had any similar experiences in 2020. The disappearing couch. This happened to me and my roommate in our freshman year in college. I was dating a guy at the time, and he had come over to visit one night. My roommate goes to take a shower to leave us alone and left her keys behind. Side note, all the dormitory doors automatically lock when you shut them. Boyfriend and I, not knowing she left her keys, Figure we don't want to be rude with PDA, so we leave for the basement common area, which around this time of night is almost completely empty. We're down there for probably 3 hours just chatting on the couch, taking selfies, and shooting pool before his ride comes to get him. I walk him to the doors, and before keying into our floor, I see one of my friends, who tells me my roommate has been looking all over for me. She tells me that my roommate locked herself out of our room and had to call the RA with the emergency phone in the lobby. I'm worried that she's pissed, and we quickly make our way to my room. Yeah, she was furious at me for leaving and essentially locking her out. We argue for a while, and she tells me that she walked all over the lobby, the basement common room, and outside to find me, dressed only in her bathrobe. I stop her. If she checked the basement, she would have found us immediately on the couch, by the pool table. She gets angrier and tells me that I must be lying since there's no couch in the basement common room. We go back and forth until finally I convince her to come downstairs. I'd be happy to show her the green and brown couch that I was sitting on no more than an hour or so ago. Well, you guessed it, no couch. But oddly enough, I found the snacks trashed that my boyfriend and I had left behind in the wastebasket right next to the space that should have been a couch. I'm rightly confused and text the boyfriend, who sent me the selfies of us together on that couch. I show the roommate, and we both realize something is seriously up. Not only did she pass through the basement a few times and we weren't there, but neither was the couch. I still think it's a glitch in the Matrix to this day. Thanks everyone. Are you ready for spooky season? I know I am. Stay safe out there. Love, the Mistress.